Good evening. Um, so today I'm going to take you guys through a topic here said. Syllabus IBGCSE requires you guys to be able to label all different types of different organelles within the cell, define what a cell is, label the structures within the cell, and then discuss the functions. So right behind me here we have the structure of the cell. Um, uh, it's labeled this is what we call the cell membrane. It's covering up everything. It's filled up with the cytoplasm. This red dots represent the cytoplasm. And then within the cytoplasm, we have different organelles floating within the cytoplasm. Finally, the ribosome, the dark one here, and we have the mitochondria, we have the nucleus, we have the endoplasmic reticulum. We've got two types: the smooth one and the rough one, the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Yeah. So you have to be able to uh, label all those structures. We have a lot of them, but for your syllabus, you are only limited to these ones. Then uh, the next thing to see is the definition or what is a cell. What do you mean by a cell? Definition a cell a cell is a basic unit of life. Basic. How something is a basic unit of life? Relevant is the foundation of life. Ntlo ha o e yaga o e simolola ka foundation. So hela yalo botshelo foundation ya botshelo ke cell. Botshelo bo simologa mo seleng. Ha re re a cell is a basic unit. Re rela gore a cell is the foundation of life. Life is the genesis of life. Life begins within a cell. Yeah. So re ra yang re botshelo bo simologa mo teng ga cell. We have different organelles that ensures gore life indeed starts from the cell. So really feel organelle. Ra go simolola ka mitochondria. Let's first discuss the mitochondria. How does the mitochondria ensure that as human beings or as living things we remain alive? Yeah. How is it the foundation of life? The mitochondria. So o tla itse yalo gore la ntlha before ke tsena mo mitochondria o itse gore all these different parts tsa cell di bitswa gote ke di-organelles. Yeah, it's from gore really batho really larger organisms we are made up of organs, but the cell being a very tiny structure that is not visible to the naked eye, as minute as it is. So the smaller parts of the cell ha di bitswe gote ke di-organs, di bitswa gote ke di-organelles. So organelle can be mitochondria. How does it ensure that life continues? We continue alive. E bitswa gote ke the powerhouse of the cell. Ba tla go botsa mo exam ba go botsa gore what the other name of the mitochondria? It is called the powerhouse of the cell. Yeah. We bona ya mitochondria. Ke yone organ le gore it's shaped like a bean. It's shaping like a pillow, like a kidney, or it's shaping like a nawa. So it's shaped like a bean or a kidney, and then I wanna eat the play my zigzaganyana mo teng like hot dogo. Ha go tshela hot dogo di sauce tsa bana ba tshela sauce engwe ba ira ma zigzag yani. Yeah, so ena go botsa hot dog ha ke e bona. So what is the function of this organelle? It produces energy. The mitochondria, like you try the name of is the powerhouse of the cell because it produces energy. Mitochondria produces energy through a process called respiration. It produces energy through a process called respiration. Yeah. And then what I thought uh, how do you produce this energy? Ke nna ke rata gore ke discuss the topic ya cell right after ke discuss topic ya digestive system. because from the digestive system, you know that we consume various type of various food substances. One of them being carbohydrates. Di-carbohydrates tsotlhe ka mefuta, borotho, phalish, bogobe, macaroni, tsotlhe tse re di jang, the final product after digestion is glucose. So ga go kgathalesege gore o jeleng carbohydrate efeng, the final product will be glucose. This is the glucose that is going to be absorbed into your bloodstream. It's going to be assimilated into your cell. Its final destination is going to be the mitochondria. Inside the mitochondria, that's where our glucose is going to react with oxygen. Glucose reacts with oxygen to produce water, carbon dioxide, and energy. And o gape gore energy within the mitochondria is produced in the form of ATP. Energy in the mitochondria is produced in the form of ATP. So ba rata botswa teng mo exameng ba tla go botsa gore what is the energy currency of the cell? It's ATP. So energy inside the cell is produced in the form of ATP. That's the energy currency of the cell. What is respiration can take place in two forms. We'll discuss that in details. But for now, respiration can happen in two conditions. It can either happen in abundant or in enough oxygen. That's what we call aerobic respiration. It can happen in absence of oxygen, and that's what we call anaerobic respiration. When we have enough oxygen, we produce a lot of energy, a lot of ATP. So sekai, with aerobic respiration, we produce about 36 to 38 ATP molecules. We produce a lot of energy, 38 ATP molecules per one glucose molecule. Whereas with anaerobic, we only produce 2 ATPs per a single molecule of glucose. So with presence of oxygen, we produce a lot of energy. Yeah. And then the other thing I would tell you, glucose plus oxygen equals to water plus carbon dioxide plus energy. That's like the overall chemical reaction. But in real life, chemical reaction respiration is actually a summary of different type of reactions. Science, respiration in 3 stages. Go na le mo re ke glycolysis, go le mo reng ke di TCA cycle or the Krebs cycle, go na le mo reng ke gone ke electron transport cycle. Each of these stages di produce ATP. Ha re add yotlhe in 38 per molecule. Yeah, that's if you're going to go further with science. And then the other ribosome, the other organelle is basic to life is the ribosomes. So ribosome ke organelle is found also floating in the cytoplasm. That's how we synthesize our proteins. Hela jaaka di-carbohydrates di fa glucose. We sometimes eat what you call bodybuilding foods or the proteins. They're going to be digested into peptides. From peptides, they're going to further be digested into amino acids. Those amino acids are going to be absorbed into the bloodstream and then finally assimilated into the cell. I believe the destination being the ribosomes. So the ribosomes is a place or an organelle where we are going to take these ribosomes, we are going to take these amino acids, and then we synthesize them we build them into proteins. So we are going to build proteins in the ribosomes using all these various amino acids that we got from our food substances, from our proteins. With the we have about 20 different types of amino acids that we use to make different types of proteins. And that process of building that process of building proteins is called translation. Yeah. So ra gola at some point no le monyenyane ha re ntse re gola rena batona, we build more flesh, we build more meat in our body. Nama e dirwa go ka eo, nama ya re ntse re gola lo gore be re na le one characteristic of a living thing is growth. Gore be re ntse re gola yalo, nama eo e dirwa from the ribosomes, right? Simple. And then the other structure to discuss, the other organelle to discuss is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Around this nucleus, we have the endoplasmic reticulum. We have two types, the rough one and the smooth. The rough one e ngaparetswe ke the ribosomes. E nngwe ka fa e smooth ga ya ngaparelwa ke letlapi la ga ya ngaparelwa ke the ribosomes. So go motlhofo ha motho a go botsa ka ba go tsama exameng gore what is the function of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, e ngaparetswe ke the ribosomes e le gore they synthesize proteins. So you would take it from that way gore rough endoplasmic reticulum lo ne e dirang it synthesize proteins. Sa ba go botsa mo exameng gore rough it synthesize proteins. And then the other additional function again, it modifies proteins. Post-translational modification. It polishes the proteins to make sure that they become well finished goods. So the proteins they are polished di kgona go functiona properly. Yeah, the science the processes like both glycolation, bo phosphorylation, bo methylation, more rough endoplasmic reticulum to modify proteins to make them active, to make them functional. Yeah. So very le smooth endoplasmic reticulum. O tla itse gore ke ne ke bana ba sekolo gore ha o le no wa gana mafa ele protein, which other tissue is found adjacent to flesh? Mona me ha o bua kgomo ke efe tissue le gore e bapile le nama? Ke mafura. So we synthesize fats in this smooth endoplasmic reticulum. We synthesize fats in this smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Yeah, raha mahura in this smooth endoplasmic reticulum. About what function makes them. And then kerata for example ya gore mahura na le body triglycerides, ra le bo cholesterol. How ka gore cholesterol we itse gore we synthesize ha ba go botsa mo exameng gore where do we synthesize cholesterol? We synthesize cholesterol in this smooth endoplasmic reticulum. We itse gone gore mmele o synthesis cholesterol because we need cholesterol. Often at time we tend to think cholesterol is something that is bad to our life. Cholesterol is not necessarily a bad fat. We need cholesterol for us to stay alive. For example, for us to build this cell membrane, for that fluidity of the membrane, we need cholesterol. Cholesterol only becomes a bad fat in excess. Too much of anything is bad, but in the right amount, cholesterol is a good thing that we need. Still in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, we use this cholesterol to synthesize some hormones. Cholesterol, we use it to make hormones like testosterone, hormones like estrogen, testosterone, hormones like progesterone. We build those hormones from cholesterol. So we build hormones from the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Yeah. Functions of the liver. The liver detoxifies toxins, harmful substances in the body. The process of detoxification is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So which organelle in the liver is responsible for detoxification? Ke 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 smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Yeah. Ga o sana o itse ka tsela e ntse yalo, o itse goreng there are other organelles that are floating here within the cytoplasm tse e le goreng we are not going to discuss as per limitation ya syllabus sa lona. So kgang ke goreng di-chemical reaction tsa bo respiration tsa bo protein synthesis ko ribosomong, go na le process tse dingwe tsa bo beta oxidation tse di diragalang mo cytoplasmeng, tsotlhe di diragala within organelles tse le gore they are floating in the cytoplasm. So a re tla re go botsa gore cytoplasm ke eng, go diragala mo cytoplasmeng. Ra re cytoplasm is that, ga se metsi cytoplasm, ga o etsa consistency ya teng ga o e tshwara e tshwana le soup. So ra re cytoplasm is that fluid that has soup-like consistency where chemical reactions take place. So because the chemical reactions tse di diragalang in these organelles, they are floating within the cytoplasm. Ra re cytoplasm is a place where chemical reactions takes place, again, where chemical reaction take place. And ga go fela goreng ra go sensing a group of different chemical reaction metabolism. So ra re cytoplasm is where metabolism takes place. So we dilo tse pedi ka cytoplasm, that's where chemical reactions take place. It has a soup-like consistency, and all the organelles found within the cell are floating in this guy, cytoplasm. Ga o sana o itse yalo, then bo itse gore everything else is packaged by the cell membrane. Cell membrane ke bolo e le goreng ke letlalo le cover le sengwe le sengwe. Ha ne cell membrane e ka thubega, for example, ha ka phunyega, everything is going to spill out. So ta ya ba lemoga gore the function of the cell membrane, it packages everything together. And by so doing, it maintains the integrity of the cell. Because once this thing breaks, all the contents of this cell are going to spill out, and the cell is sealed. So cell membrane maintains the integrity of the cell through packaging everything. And then cell membrane, being the outermost structure, it regulates gore ke mang o tsena mo teng ga sele, ke mang o tswang, right? It controls entry of movement of stuff into and out of the cell. So cell membrane regulates movement of stuff into and outside the cell. So it will allow nutrients, example, it will allow nutrients to enter, and it will allow waste products of metabolism to leave the cell. For example, ya go lekalla glucose go tsena, ya go lekalla oxygen go tsena for the process of respiration. Ga o sona produce carbon dioxide and water as metabolized, they are going to leave the cell through the cell membrane. Yeah. So that quality wa go gela go goreng ke go bolela goreng cell membrane, it has that capability to choose. Hela just because you are a nutrient, you are a glucose, it doesn't mean you are going to be allowed to enter. Ya go lekala a certain number of nutrients to enter, and then it will keep excess out. That quality or that function of the cell membrane, cell membrane is selectively permeable. Yeah, choose out the cell membrane is selectively permeable. Cell membrane is selectively permeable. Right? And then ke emphasize this fact of membrane o selectively permeable, because ha re tsa faneng ara go discuss topic e nngwe e go teng ke one ke osmosis. ko osmosising ra go itlhela goreng go na le membrane re o dirisang go teng ke yone ke viscin tubing. Viscin tubing how o go na le solution e le goreng there is a water and the solute mo go yone. Of the two things, it is going to allow only one of the two. It is going to allow only one out of two things to pass through it. So half ke same. So of the two things being the solute and water, only water is going to be allowed to pass through the viscin tubing. So that quality of the viscin tubing allowing only one out of two to pass is half permeable, or it's semi permeable. Viscin tubing is semi permeable, but the cell membrane is selectively permeable. Ke bua yalo because mo exam ba rata potso ba tla go tsang gore which of the following is true about the cell membrane. Ba kgona go confuse ba gore ba re cell membrane is semi permeable, so watch out for such distractions mo exam. Cell membrane ga e semi permeable, it is selectively permeable. I hope you don't forget that. So the last structure se discuss mo seleng ke the last organelle ke nucleus. Very important organelle. Nucleus is like the brain of the cell. It contains hereditary information about you. The information like you were made up of the sperm and the ovum from both parents, right? And that hereditary information from both parents got stored in the nucleus. So all the information about your life is stored in the nucleus. And the nucleus, because it has got information about you, is going to control all activities taking place in the cell. You cannot control anything if you don't have information. The two things that you need to know about the nucleus, it has information about the hereditary information about you, and as a result, is going to control all activities taking place within the cell. Ke yone ya go laola gore matlho a gago a nna kana kang ga o tshola, ke yone laolang gore a o nna mokhutswane kana nna motelele, ke yone laolang gore a o nna montsho kana nna mosweu, ke yone laolang le mekgwa ya gago goreng a motho o phadimogang kana motho le goreng a o itsa sentle mo tshelong. So all the information about you is stored right here. Ke nna ke bolela basadi goreng if information ya gago ka moriri ke gore moriri wa gago nna mokhutswane, la o ka o logaya ga ile gore information e ko nucleus ke gore moriri wa gago nna 10 centimeters, la o ka loga moriri ka tsela e ntseng jang, moriri wa gago tsena mo 10 centimeters wa go kgaoga. So it has information about you. The last thing I would mention before I close ke gore information e le goreng it is contained in the nucleus is contained in the form of topic genetics. It's contained in chromosomes. So human beings have 23 pairs of chromosomes, making a total of 46 chromosomes. So information is in forms of genes or alleles within the nucleus. O tla itse le goreng ha se le ntse gola, when the cell e gola behela e divide into two, go iragala mo ke gone ke DNA replication e iragala within the nucleus. And then like you mentioned gore ribosomes synthesize proteins through a process called translation. Go motho ka ipotsa gore kitso e beilweng mo nucleusing, how does it leave the nucleus gore go iswe information ya gore tsamaya le go agang protein ko ribosome. So what I gore after the process of replication, go na le process e reng ke transcription. Go na le process of forming a messenger RNA, copying the information that is within the nucleus, and then taking that message through the messenger RNA. That process is transcription, and the information is going to be taken by the messenger RNA to the ribosomes, when we reach the ribosomes with that information, we are going to do what we call a translation, translating that messenger RNA information into proteins. We are going to discuss that whole process. Go to beginner genetics. Yeah. So, with all that, I would like to say thank you for your attention. If you have questions, post them below this video. Thank you so much.